The term fan comes from the word fanatic, which always has a negative connotation. There's always such a negative idea of what a fan is. Fans are, in fact, something very different nowadays than they used to be. The word fanatic was always something you would look down on. You would look down on a fan, being a fan of something. My personal opinion, I never trusted anyone who isn't a fan of something.
I hear the sounds emanating from my radio. I get excited when I hear a song I didn't know. 5 o'clock never comes too fast. Each day feels like the last. I know I have to quit. I never trust a man who promises. He's a boss, so he doesn't mean a word he says. The day turns in tonight. Let's get this party started right. I think I'll call my friends. Yeah, we're all right, my friend. And now you waited too long, and it's just another rock song, and you don't know the words. Uh-oh.
I'm from Albury in Australia.
From Redwood City, California.
From Fort Worth, Texas.
From Bavaria.
From Vancouver, Canada.
I just came up from Seattle.
And then Kim from Brazil.
From Kentucky.
Houston, Texas.
I've been to them in 6 different countries.
Whoa, whoa. I hear the sounds emanating from my radio. The cubicle is small, I keep the music low. Yeah, we break the monotony. Who cares if we have to be back here at 8 a.m.? Yeah, we call it sick again. Now you waited too long, and it's just another rock song, and you don't know the words. Whoa, whoa. But if we try to get it right, we can party on a Tuesday night. Screaming we'll be heard. Whoa, here we go. The day turns into night. Let's get this party started right. I think I'll call
When the men of letters appeared, wow, that's really cool. We're kind of the women of letters.
Waited too long, and it's just another rock song. You don't.
Sam likes to investigate everything. He has to know what's going on. And Dean is the man of action. He just leaps, literally, and might ask questions later.
Tuesday night, screaming we'll be heard.
This show, honest to God, gave me a social life.
Fathers can relate passing this type of stuff on.
This was pretty unique. I think there's a certain special relationship, particularly because of Jared and Jensen really cultivated this a long time. Early on in the convention circuit, they did a lot of them, and they still continue to do
It
them.
was fandom that kept me alive. It was fandom that gave me hope. It gave me hope in a really, really dark time.
Screaming we'll be heard. Ooh, yeah.
I just started out just wanting to tell a couple scary stories. It really started as simple as that. I had no idea the show was going to turn into the phenomenon that it turned into.
When Supernatural first came on the air 10 or 11 years ago, I remember watching it right from that first episode and saying, well, that was scary as hell, but also something kind of really satisfying about the relationship of those brothers.
You know, I knew that it was on the CW. You know, I was like, oh gosh, it's gonna be a family show. But then it was more of like a blood and guts kind of horror movie.
The classic rock, the monster of the week, you know, all of that. And I won't lie, the pretty doesn't hurt.
Like, season 1 scared the crap out of me, but I couldn't stop watching.
You know, you got some great villains on the show, and they're funny, and you know, it's a cool show. And how can you not like two guys who drive a cool car? Come on, man.
It's fun having her. It's fun driving her. You feel like a badass. Like you sit in the car, you turn it on. It's like rah, 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 and you're like, yes. People that don't know about the car, like old dudes are just like, yeah, nice car. And people who do know about the car are like, do you have the props? Oh my God!
A fandom, a passion is what brings everybody to somebody who is of their same ilk. I see how they, the fandom, and me myself, how I've made so many friends, how I've made so many connections with the mutual appreciation for something.
The fandom, you know, as it's become known as, is the relationship runs really deep between, you know, myself and Jared and Misha and Mark, and the list goes on and on.
If these conventions are anything, it's an opportunity for our fandom to be themselves, and hopefully vice versa with our fandom, and go like, hey, we're excited about this too. Like, as nerdy as y'all think y'all are, we feel as nerdy as well because we're part of this too.
I don't think is normal for most actors on a television series or in movies, or you know, any kind of entertainers.
That interaction is something unusual, particularly for TV fans. I mean, when are you going to get to meet the stars of your favorite show in that way? And also all the other ways you can at a convention. It just doesn't happen. But with Supernatural, these stars are so nice and so interactive.
It could be easy, I guess, if you've been doing the conventions for a long time to just kind of show up and do whatever. I'm not there yet. I still think it's crazy. Like, how can we make this better? How can we make this a better experience for the fans? You want to make sure that they have an amazing experience.
The original layout of the photo op was actors are stagnant. Fan come in, stand near actor, don't touch actor, don't even make eye contact with actor.
It's a one-on-one time, and even though it's a short time, it's an incredibly special time. For the fans, you know, the room is set up in a way where the fan comes in and gets to experience other fans for a short period of time, but it lets them, I think, put themselves at ease where they're more comfortable in the photo.
People have told me stories about actors that like no touching in the pictures, you know what I mean? And we've got Misha and Jensen and Jared who are like, yeah, bring it in.
I've seen other actors from other shows do their photo ops, and for every shot they're like, it looks like they're trying to do a little modeling shoot. We don't do that. We like to just dick around and have a good time and you know, make people look like fools, including ourselves.
Part of me is like, well, if you've met Jensen or Jared, let's say at the first convention, you've got their autographs, you've taken a picture of them, then what's the point of doing it again? You know, like, and I think it becomes almost like trading cards, you know, like baseball cards. Like,
I thought one would be it, but we didn't do well on our photo. For Jared and Jensen, I don't take failure well, so I've got to come back and do it again.
You know, they had pictures last year with Jared and Jensen, but they've got to see what this year's like, and then they compare them. You know, they look at how we looked last year, look at what we wore last year, look at this pose that we did this year.
It's unique, and the guys are very friendly, and it's a dream come true.
I am shaking, and I'm usually not that starstruck, but wow.
My heart is racing probably at 200 beats per minute. Super exciting. Yeah, the best day of my life.
I can fangirl and then pull it together when I'm actually in there, and then start shaking again when I come out. It's awesome.
Misha's very important to me, so it's always really seeing him. Yeah. And I told the Fred House what he's doing later, damn it.
He said like he liked my earrings, and like I talked to him. And
I can't feel my toes.
I've often talked to people as they're leaving the photo op room, and they're always either smiling or some of them are even crying. They're so happy.
The photo op is definitely an arena in which any traces of artistic integrity or dignity that we may have had before this experience get flushed down the toilet, and we just completely humiliate ourselves.
It's just so amazing to actually see them in person. Everyone else, I mean, I've seen Misha before, but to see the two of them in person and wow, I'm sorry.
They smell really nice.
Look, most people have a photo with Richard and Matt. I'm more of the chaperone. So I know what they're there for. I offered up to them. Matt's bottom, and he's gracious enough to allow that to happen.
I meet so many fans and I say, this is your first convention? Yes. Prepare to meet one of your new best friends. Prepare to have a new roommate. Prepare to share food or share money or share your seat or share your thoughts with somebody you never met before, because it's going to happen. We want to understand why the convention, the supernatural cons are so special, but we don't.
When I got into Canada and I walked into the production office and they said, so have you signed up for a convention yet? And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. And they said, oh, just wait.
There's an enormous subculture, this universe that exists around the TV show that is remarkably focused and powerful.
The original Star Trek and the Beatles, I had my own fandoms. I did a lot of things that the supernatural fandom does. I understand the passion, I understand the commitment, I understand that kind of love you have for something where it's in your head all the time.
We podcast every single episode after it airs since the 3rd season, and we went back and picked up for the first 2 seasons. We talk about the episode and what happened and our thoughts, and we have callers, and our biggest thing, we've had some great guests from the cast and crew on. We've had Jensen, we've had Misha, we've had Jim Beaver, we've had like director Guy B, we've had Jim Michaels, you know, we've had Felicia Day, Osric Chow, we've had tons of the cast and crew on our podcast.
As the social media evolved and our fandom started, this group of people came together. They are the reason literally the show's still on the air, because they tweet about it, and then we've created a relationship with them through social media. We can talk to them.
We've been very fortunate enough to be a part of that shift in culture.
I'm pretty active on the Twitter, and which I love because it's a great way for me to really interact with people and have a bit of fun and have a conversation.
I've been resisting at all costs having to join the social media phenomenon that is Twitter and Instagram, and I thank you. I appreciate the support on that.
It got to a point where I figured there was multiple reasons. One, there were people out there pretending to be me that weren't me, and I'd run into some mother at the grocery store, and she's like, "Oh, thanks for being so nice to my daughter on Facebook." That was, and I'm like, that's not me. I don't know what, you might want to get on that, because that's not me. So it was a way to kind of curb all that and just be like, look, this is who I am, this is me. All the other fakers can go away.
There's a lot of things that it's really good for. It's also a very good connection to the fans, as you have seen through Jared's Twitter, through Misha's Twitter, through this and that. And I think I've gotten to the point now where it's like, well, if you can't beat them, join them.
Twitter, the Twitter demons finally got to me.
Then what are you trying to say to this VIP gold group in front of us today, Jensen? So I'm going to join Twitter right now.
All right. You can't see Jared, he can't see you. All right. See you, make sure everybody. Now you go to Twitter. Type in the password.
It gives me a connect with the fans. It's a, trying to just reach out a little bit more and close that gap that we were talking about from the actors to the fans, from the show to the fandom.
He has 250,000. He has one tweet and 275,000 followers.
Even though I'm not good at it and I don't do it nearly as much as some of the other guys on the show, I'm still learning and still got my training wheels on.
the actors are now able to interact with fans in a way that I think was unprecedented, 5 or 6 years ago. And we've evolved from this fandom of appreciation to a family of people that kind of help each other.
Supernatural started kind of as blogs started and Twitter, and so our writers who were very savvy were able to go like, well, we're in our cage, and Jensen and Jared and the bunch are in their cage in Vancouver. Let's see what the outside world is thinking, and let's look outside the box and literally go to the fandom to see what's working and what's not and what they're caring about.
Because we were interested. No one had ever done it before, so we talked a lot about what were the fans thinking and how were they reacting. And we started talking about it so much that it started to make its way into the storylines, because that's where Chuck came from, and all of these ideas, all of these meta things that Supernatural did, where we would make commentary on the fans that were paying attention to Supernatural, that came from us paying attention to social media.
Social media in terms of working with TV shows and getting them on the map is the studio and network execs pay attention to things like views and likes and followers, and they see that a show can be really boosted by the online presence.
It's hard to be terribly scientific about it, but I feel like the relationship that we have with our fans, the Supernatural fans, is incredibly strong, and I think part of that is because we show up at conventions and we get to interact face to face with them.
There's something about the geek that comes to a convention that we're all geeks together, and that's allowed. We know who we are, and people who are in the SPN fandom know who they are, not necessarily the cool kids.
Hi, my name is Jamie. I'm from Vancouver, BC, the home of Supernatural.
Καλημέρα στην οικογένεια του Supernatural από την ηλιόλουστη Κύπρο. Με λένε Σωτηρούλα και ήθελα να σας πω ότι σας αγαπώ όλους.
And we're from Blaine, Minnesota.
And we're part of the SPN family.
We're from Long Island, New York, and we love Supernatural.
Hi, I'm Camille, and I'm a Supernatural fan from Lyon, France.
And I think I'm the only surviving Supernatural fan here in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
And I'm from Ontario, Canada. This is my service dog, Hero. Look at him. And we're huge fans of Supernatural.
Sou de Coimbra, Portugal, e faço parte da melhor família do mundo, a família Supernatural.
And we live in Gisborne, New Zealand.
Hallo, hier ist Berlin.
From Kauai, Hawaii, USA.
Mirado Supernatural por 10 años.
India has a huge fan base of Supernatural.
Dari Surabaya, Indonesia.
I'm from Serbia, a tiny country in Eastern Europe. And at this point, it's sort of my life mission to harass every friend I have into watching Supernatural.
In Brazil, the family Supernatural is very important for me.
My name's Alex, I'm from Wales.
And we are from Hellerslew in Denmark.
From Dubai, United Arab Emirates.
I'm from Bosnia.
Okay, from Bruges, Belgium.
I'm Leo from Finland.
We live in Newburgh, Indiana. We're both fans of Supernatural.
Sondern auch in Deutschland eine Menge von Fans gibt. Wir lieben euch.
Soy de Guatemala y formo parte de la familia Supernatural.
And I am part of the Supernatural family.
And I love Supernatural.
Vi bor i Bergen, Norge. Vi är stolta medlemmar av Supernatural-familjen.
I run the Scottish fan page for Supernatural.
Been watching Supernatural since 2005 when it aired in Australia.
Supernatural is the symbol of our brothers.
And we are proud to be a part of this wonderful global family.
I'm Maria from Thessaloniki, Greece, and I'm sending all my love to my Supernatural family.
Hi, I live in Turkey and I'm part of Supernatural family.
I am from Mineral Texas, and I love Supernatural.
You can go anywhere in the world, literally anywhere in the world, and there's a Supernatural fan, somewhere in New Zealand or Madagascar or, somewhere. And you may not even speak the same language, but they know that show.
You see these fans all over the world. I've met fans in different countries that have gotten together and they've met on Twitter or Instagram or otherwise, and they meet in San Diego and they spend the weekends together.
Nashville, LA, Toronto, Chicago, Vancouver, worldwide. I mean, if that support wasn't there to show Warner Brothers and the production company making the show, it probably wouldn't have held it last after season 1.
Because the first one I ever went to was in Rome, the first time they had the Rome convention, and most of the friends that I've made in this fandom are from Europe, they're overseas.
I was in Istanbul recently, and I was on my own, and I just thought, I'm like, let's see if anybody's here. And I just tweeted out, hey, I'm going to be here in like 5 minutes. And there's like 10 people showed up, like right away. I'm like, this is so weird. I'm in Istanbul, Turkey, of all places. You know, and it, you know, it's such a, I don't know, it's a wonderful thing that I just can't imagine happening on any other show.
Hey, I came from Japan, I came from Brazil, I came from Poland, I came from Alaska to come here in Dallas and Los Angeles and Chicago. And you go, what for business? Or and they're like, no, I came for this.
And when those people can travel these continents and these oceans, and they can come to a city, and they can come to a place where we're having a convention with, you know, the actors and the, you know, maybe the producers or the directors or some musical guests, and they can sit around and they can all share their stories and share in a social network of people that all have this common interest. That's a pretty special thing to be a part of.
These cons have been going on for years, and I always kind of poo-pooed them. I was like, I had no idea what it was, I guess. I mean, really, truthfully, that's it. I had no clue what it could be. Maybe, you know, sign a couple autographs, and I was always busy working, and I was like, how much can it possibly be? Because, you know, you work out at Comic-Con and you do panels, and it's not dictated by fans, and the fans aren't the ones asking the questions. There's a moderator up there. There's not a lot of interaction. And I finally this year had, I got the opportunity to go to the Las Vegas con. Maybe one of the coolest things I've ever experienced. The first time I saw it and really walked out on that stage in Las Vegas with Jensen was one of the, I mean, I got emotional. It was crazy. That the love that I felt was insane. And I hope I gave it back.
I don't think I'll ever feel like a rock star the way that I do at a convention, because there's thousands of people, and the way that they cheer and clap, I mean, I just feel like I'm this middle-aged character actor that did, you know, 3 episodes on Supernatural, and suddenly I've just been embraced with so much love.
So these are all from Rome. Misha, Kevin McNally, Benedict.
When I go to a convention, I know I'm going to have an amazing weekend, not only with the cast that I know, my friends that I don't get to see as often, but seeing fans from event to event, you know, singing, answering amazing questions that make me think about the world in different ways, seeing different perspectives from people who don't live in Hollywood or don't even live in this country. Like, my world is expanded every time I go to a convention, and I'm inspired to love things as much as these fans love Supernatural.
I went on the original to Vancouver last year, and I thought I would do it one time, and it was a blast, and I met a lot of good people, and this is now my 4th in like 7 months.
My favorite thing, I think, is just hanging out with all the other fans and seeing people that you have so much in common with.
I've been to quite a few of these, of the Supernatural conventions, and at this point I come to see the guests just as much as I come to see my friends. It's an experience that you really don't understand unless you've been to it and if you watch the show.
I'm PE teacher Dean Winchester.
I mean, the whole cosplay thing was a happy accident, I guess.
You see like Osric, who's like the fan mascot. He's amazing, and he's just who he is.
How many other shows actually have actors come and cosplay? Like, committed to his love of the show and the genre.
If it weren't for this fandom, if it weren't for that love and support, I would never do those things.
And when you go to a convention and you see somebody dressed as yourself, or more often than not, Misha.
I like Misha Collins, honestly. He's great. Because he's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Once you've had Misha Collins this close to your face, you have to reevaluate your life and the choices that brought you here.
But to see the people that will go out of their way to put that costume together and show how much they love a character, or how much they love the story, or how much it's a part of their life, I think it's the bravest thing in the world.
My name is Sam. I have 9 fingers. This is the blanket that I made. I cross-stitched it for 6 months, and I had to get it ready for ShyCon.
One of the really amazing things about this group is how many talented artists there are. Painters and editors and writers, you name it, they put together incredible works of art around this show.
I binge watched all of the seasons within like a month, and I became so inspired. So I contacted Creation and I said I'd like to join in as a vendor. They approved me, and I've been doing it professionally ever since. This is what I do, and I'm having a blast.
Each one of the dolls has the signature of the actor that plays them written on their backs. He has the full books that were written about the guys, and they actually have text in them.
I like the conventions because there's immediacy, because there's humanity. It's very easy to forget who I work for. It's very easy to forget who I'm responsible to.
And after going to these conventions and seeing the impact and seeing the conversations get started because of storylines, and even getting to share your opinions and letting fans share their opinions, and the vibration, that positive vibration that it puts out there, it's, for me, it reminds me that what I do is really important. And for the kid who doesn't feel connected to other people, and they feel it through this show.
The event that we put on at a convention now is much more of a show and an experience than it was a few years ago. We've kind of found our roving cast of misfit characters that are the core group that attend most of the conventions.
These conventions feel a little more intimate than going to a bigger convention with a lot of different themes and shows going on.
A live performance is a very organic thing. The gasps of an audience, oohs and ahs, and it's an incredible, driving, powerful force.
We just got back from a photo op with Jensen, Jared, and Misha, which, bless their hearts, this is our first con for Supernatural, and it has been phenomenal. But what really touched us, and especially Courtney, because she is 6'5", and it's kind of been hard. He said, "You know what? You are the perfect size." She totally respects Jensen Ackles, and the fact that he was the one to tell her.
And it wasn't just like, you're the perfect size, like a joke sort of thing.
He actually took her aside and he's like, "You are the perfect size." And
I mean, it's not like he knew, but it's like he knew, I don't know. And that's just, I'm feeling everyone here.
So it was really nice to actually fit in for once. And I mean.
And fit in by not fitting in, that's the whole thing.
Exactly, yeah, fitting in by not fitting in.
I started drawing when I got laid off, just something to pass the time, kind of keep my sanity. It was about the time that I went to my first convention, and I thought, oh, you know what, I think I'll just do a drawing of Jensen and Jared and maybe have them sign it and see how that goes. And when I came to the convention and Jared was signing his, he in particular, he encouraged me so much to continue and pursue it, because I didn't feel like, it was that good. And, he was blown away by it, and, really, encouraged me to continue with it.
This is an extraordinary thing that I have never seen the like of, and I've seen some cons and some fandoms in my day, but I have never seen the like.
If you remember the first episode I come on, I get stabbed in the back, I get my head chopped off, and I get shot in the face. And the fans just went crazy. They were like, "Who is this chick? We love her." And I was like, "But I'm the bad guy." And they love the bad guy. And I think that that's what's so special about this fandom, is that they embrace the characters for who they are.
I know it's supposed to be the story about two guys out chasing monsters, but it's not. It's a story about family. And
then when you see the brothers interact and you can see the sacrifices they're making.
They're watching a show about family and about the relationships between characters that they care about.
The depth of the emotion that they feel for these people and for the actors, the depth of it is so, it isn't like Star Trek. It isn't like Star Wars. You can have people who are passionately devoted to those shows, but it's a passion that ends on a level where the passion for Supernatural only starts.
They live for it. They get tattoos of stuff from the show. I had a fan
have a tattoo of a line I said that I didn't even remember.
I basically wanted to get one that sort of showed off my love of my favourite character.
Part of why I wanted to get my tattoo is because they were taboo in my cult. They were thought to be evil. And essentially, there was this moment of getting it and sensing, like, I own my body. No one else is going to tell me what I can do.
Well, typically, people get the anti-possession tattoo right here on the upper left side there, which is a cool placement. You know what I mean? It's one of those things, if you want to show it, you can. If not, it's covered.
I refer to the show often as an onion because there's so many things. And the more you watch it, the more you see. You know, you can enjoy it on first watch on the surface as a great story, and then when you start digging in and peeling into those layers and see more and more, it's just that much more enrapturing. It just really hooked me. I call it my tour in purgatory / hell because I had a very abusive ex that I wasn't allowed to enjoy anything. So it was kind of my guilty pleasure to sneak and watch something that I truly enjoyed, you know, and a story that was interesting to me. It was my freedom gift to myself when I was finally and completely and totally free of all the abuse. I wanted something to remind me that I was in control, that never again would something evil possess me. It taught me how to cry. It taught me how to feel, because after so many years, I stopped crying. I shut everything down. I walled everything off and couldn't, and that was something when I started breaking free and I got back into watching on a regular basis. I connected and I felt.
Let's give them a nice welcome, Jensen and Joe. It borders on religious experience. And I'm not saying that in a way that makes it, that cheapens either religion or supernatural. It's actually a great indication of both of them, because there does feel like a connection to me.
In Hollywood, you hide yourself because you think you got to be this certain person, so these producers look at you as that type of actor, or you have to act a certain way to fulfill the requirements in somebody else's head. And like, not at the conventions. The conventions, the fans want me, and after the first couple of conventions, I started being me, and I've just been a happier person.
It infuses a television show with actual humanity on both sides, and it's great. It's great. I get to really see what I'm doing instead of taking it and thinking it's mine. I am reminded that this is not mine. This is theirs.
They've watched every episode, but they only started watching it 3 months ago, or a year ago, or 2 years ago. And that's an incredible thing, because they chose the show. They went out of their way to go find the show for whatever reason, and then they chose to watch it. It wasn't thrust upon them in that way. It's not the only thing on at 9 o'clock at night. And I think there's an ownership thing there for fans as well, which I think is fabulous. There's an ownership in the context of, because they've gone to this effort to find it and have it and love it and watch it. There's an investment in it, which is huge.
There was no velvet rope between us and the audience. You know what I mean? It was a true interaction, and to see how special that is for this fandom. The tears and the stories and how much supernatural has changed their lives or gotten them through things that were difficult. That's really touching shit, and it blew my mind. Yeah, it's a special group.
In 2009, my dad suddenly passed away of stomach cancer. Shortly thereafter, my mom passed suddenly as well. After that, my sister and I were pretty much left on our own. I was 24 and she was 16, so I did what I was supposed to do, what my mom told me to do. I took custody of her. I got my job and my shit together. Not 3 months after my mom died, my friend Shannon told us, actually urged us to watch Supernatural. We found a connection with the main characters that we never thought we would have. So many parallels in their lives, losing their parents. It helped us move on, and it helped us realize that there are things out there that are really important and things out there that aren't.
Family. That is not a word that these people throw around lightly. They're not just saying we're, the family. They connect to the characters on this show with the kind of deep, abiding commitment and love that ordinarily only comes from blood.
I can't even really describe it accurately or with enough emphasis to show that, what a tight-knit group of people they can be. The amazing friendships that I've formed just in the short time that I've known some of these gals is better than many of the friendships I've had for almost my entire life.
You and I have them with our own family. We understand the blood connection. But what a lot of people don't understand is that there is a way of having what I think of as the family you choose.
And that's Sam and Dean, and that's Castiel, and that was Bobby, and it's about this group that comes together against a really hard world, and that the only way to get through it is by sticking together with your family, whether that's your blood or not.
We live in a world where people are so displaced from their families, and everyone lives in so many random places, and everybody moves away from home now, that this is the new kind of family. And it's really amazing to see how it's gonna make me cry, to see how the Supernatural fans create it for themselves. It's awesome.
There are ways in which, having had both myself, that the family you choose is even a deeper connection than the family you were born with. And in the case of Supernatural, that connection isn't just the connection between fans and characters or fans and actors. It's also the connection between the fans themselves.
Two people showed up to my meet and greet. One was cosplaying Abaddon and one was cosplaying Dean. And they met, and I get tweets from them all the time. They've been together for 1.5 years, and the matchmaker from hell.
Another marriage proposal during the photo ops, which we've had a couple of now so far. And then they met at the convention, and then years later they end up back at a convention again. Of course, they've been going, and that's when they do the wedding proposal there. The guys are part of it too, which is great. Jared and Jensen are always there when they do the proposal thing, so it's kind of neat. So those people have that last forever, right? That picture, well, he's down on one knee and proposing, and Jared and Jensen are there in the picture. It's kind of cool for them, right?
About 6 years ago, I came to a point where I felt a little like I was not creatively challenged anymore. So I really wanted to give myself something to do that would allow me to get that creative energy from somewhere else, since I didn't feel like I was getting it anymore. And so I started playing the guitar, and I started singing and writing music to it, and just kind of doing that for the simple fact of wanting some more creativity in my life. But I got to a point where I just started loving it. And so I thought, what will the fans do with this? Are they going to think about this? What if I just kind of put the music out and I see what their reaction is? They were so positive and so such cheerleaders for me musically and what I was doing. And my own people and own representation here in Hollywood were against it. But I don't think that I would have been able to follow my heart and stay with it if I hadn't had these fans saying to me, do it, go for it, you're great, we love it, do it. And that gave me the courage, and that gave me the strength to turn around and say to other people, sorry that you would rather me do that, but I'm going to do this.
It's amazing to me to see the power and the synergy that can happen between a piece of media and fans and make it something that transcends just passively consuming something.
I give away these little
little welcome packets, they're called. My friend puts supernatural money on them because we print out little dollar, they're all different denominations, $1, $5, $10, with the characters' faces, pictures from the show on them, and then we give them little badges, like this is Sam's badge for FBI, just kind of like if they wanted to cosplay a little, they have the FBI badges, and there's Dean one as well. And I just pass them out all weekend. I also create I send them out at times with gift box, actually it's kind of like having the Impala in your trunk. I mean, it's pretty much got anything. It's got your whiskey thing, you've got your lighter so you can salt and burn. This one is mine, actually. I got myself the bigger Impala. I usually give out the mini one to everyone else, but I have the Impala. You've got to have gasoline. This is actual gasoline. And then I also make board games. Now you can't actually completely design I want to get into that, but right now I usually just buy the game at a Toys R Us or everything, but I make and add stuff to it. So I made the John Winchester's journals so that when they're playing Clue they can actually put their little notes inside and say who I think did it and why. I made the little characters, all the main ones, Pamela, Dean, Sam, Bobby, Chuck. I added supernatural clue instructions and supernatural clue, but we painted on his Eric Kripke's dead body and then the Impala.
I like to see the fans bonding with each other, and this friendship and this family that is being created out there, and you can hear them out in the hallway. It's awesome. The energy is just so cool, and it's a place where they can all come and just be themselves, and nobody's going to judge them. Nobody's, they can just come and celebrate the show and be themselves and have a good time. And
several of them said the same thing, which was that they would have come to the convention even if none of the actors were there, because it was a way of connecting with these other people who felt the same way they did about so many things, not just the show, but about large aspects of life.
I see a lot of myself in these fans, whether I'm a Cowboys fan. And so I remember when I met Jensen, when we got cast for Supernatural, and we were both like, where are you from? Texas. Where? Dallas. Where? San Antonio. Who's your team? Cowboys. It's all right.
It really is the supernatural family. And people use that word quite a lot, quite often. And it means a lot of different things, but in this context, it really is borne out by the things that people do in the name of, say, fandom.
The society, the group of people who go from place to place, and you get to that place and they're always there, and you see the same faces, and this goes over years, and you go through them with all of their pain or all of their accomplishments and happiness. You meet people that you only see at these conventions, and you find out what happened to their sons, or what is happening with their wife, or who died, who got married. All of that, if somebody is sick, they rally around.
The Supernatural Fandom, they've taken care of me. They've crocheted blankets and drawn pictures of my baby's first smile, and they love my wife and they treat her with great respect. And at the end of the day, I feel like I could ask any one of them for a ride home because I drank too much or I broke my arm and can't drive, and any one of them would say yes. And that's what a fandom is. A fandom is it should be called a famdom with an M instead of a fandom, because it's kind of like a family more than fans to me.
And our show has also been on the air for an incredibly long time. And like a family, the audience has grown up, literally grown up with us.
And I had this moment where I realized, because I thought it was all adult fans, I realized that it was a whole family experience. It wasn't just about the people that were around my age that were relating to this. It was a family, and this show brings parents and their kids together, and people that may not have the easiest time relating.
I get that when someone comes up to me and says, this was an important thing for my mom and I, or my dad and I, we watched it together. I totally get it.
You make friends and you make lifelong bonds, and
the amount of communication and support and just overwhelming love and happiness and joy and other words that I can't come up with at this precise moment because I don't have a thesaurus. But this family is full of happiness and love. Yeah.
It's a pretty unique family, and that's what it is. It's one big, giant, dysfunctional family, and we wouldn't have it any other way.
There's so much in the media that still is really derisive of fans. You know, we're still making fun of fans. We're laughing at them. Aren't they nerdy and endearing or weird or kind of like off-putting ways?
We didn't feel like anybody had it right. Like the academics were writing about fandom, but they weren't fans, so they were writing as academics and kind of putting fans under a microscope. And fans were always writing, but not publishing and not having the academic viewpoint. So we thought, well, we can do both. We can really sort of take this apart and make sense of what's happening, but right from the inside, because we're really immersed in the fandom.
I've been lucky enough to have a number of rather iconic lines in the show. And I don't think any of them is more important or more indicative of the mindset of the supernatural fandom than family don't end with blood. It's a remark that it was fitting in the show when I said it. It was specific in the show when I said it. It was Bobby's claim on being part of the family with Sam and Dean. But I can't think of another line in the show that grabbed the fandom by the heart so strongly. We're in a world where there's an awful lot of everybody for himself. Look out for yourself because nobody else is going to look out for you. Well, that ain't supernatural fans.
All problems are relationship problems, really, when you boil everything down. I mean, even to the relationship you have with yourself. So if you can support that and nurture that and bolster that and you know, feel more connected to people, there's nothing better than that.
Because we're separated by our job classification or other things, that we're actually united in the fact that we're all very vulnerable people who need help from their friends, you know? And I think that the fandom for Supernatural has become that kind of almost therapeutic group.
At the end of the day, humans exist for no other reason. I don't care what anybody says, what religion you believe in, but to help one another. There's no other reason for our existence. To, you know, keep it going, obviously, and to help one another. Our jobs and our clothes and our things that we're consumed with are just things to take up the time in between helping each other.
There's always a moment at the end of the Saturday night show with Loud and Swain where we sing A Little Help from My Friends cover, and everybody leaves the stage except me, and like, it's the best moment for me. It's like goosebump moment for me. And like, I say things to the audience and they're feeling it, which is like, we're all here together. It's an even playing field. We're not celebrities, fans, we're like all family. And that's it, man. And I mean that, and they know that, and that goes a long way.
Our conventions are about including everybody. And I have met so many people who have difficulty even getting to the convention because of physical challenges that they face on a daily basis. And when they come here, I'll often sign something so they can go to the front of the line so they don't have to wait online because physically they can't. But it's even, as I say, it's a struggle for them even to get here. But when they get here, they feel part of a family. And often at home, they're secluded because they can't physically go very many places. So the concept of having a show that's strong enough to get them to even get out of the house, get on a plane even, and come to the convention where they can meet so many people who accept them and accept their love of the show, that really is what these conventions are about.
We have so many great fans who we've met over and over again who kind of are just very blunt with us and very honest and say, listen, I've gone through some tough times. Without getting into details, I've gone through some tough times, and Supernatural helped me pull through it. And at first it was sort of like the zombie show, like you really like the vampire thing. And then as we've sort of gotten to know people better and better, we realized that it's not about zombies or ghosts or demons or angels, even though the show has all of those. It's more about the attitude of whatever life may bring you. And as we all know, life brings you a lot of crummy things, no matter who you are, what position you're in, whether you're on this side of the camera or that. life brings you a lot of crummy things, and you got to kind of keep persevering.
Jamie is 24 years old, and unfortunately she got an illness when she was 14. She was in 8th grade. I met Jamie. This young lady said, I'm kind of shy, but I wanted to ask you if you wouldn't mind calling my friend and saying hi to her. And she's really sick right now. And I said, I'd love to. So she pulls out her phone, she calls her friend. I say, hi, I'm Rick Worthy, and is this Jamie? She says, yeah, it is. I said, I'm Rick Worthy from Supernatural. She goes, oh my God. And what I learned was that Jamie, her immune system started disappearing. So every 2 or 3 months, she was getting an illness a two-year-old would get, or an 80-year-old would get. Or so after about 25 doctors, we were just still in a daze, and 3 years had gone by. But each doctor would say, what kind of drug is Jamie taking for this illness, because she's a teenager and she should be depressed. So what depression drugs is she on? So, well, she's not on any. They go, well, yeah, she's got to be. She's been sick for a long time. I said, no, she watches Supernatural. Her mom told me that they started watching this TV show called Supernatural and every week, and together as a family, and it really changed her attitude towards her illness, and it gave her hope. So Supernatural became her drug of choice through this very traumatic time in her life.
But when we hear stories like this, a child who's going through chemo or something, we might be able to bring a smile to their face, which in turn brings a smile to their father and their mother's face, and so on and so forth.
Eric Kripke was at this convention, and we talked with him.
And then we ended up naming a character after her.
We were like, oh my God, I mean, we just could not believe it. And
we very specifically, we said, because we ended up killing all of our characters, and we created this character, like, we are not killing this character. This character is going to live and be happy, and so are you.
If there are those stories out there and that we're able to affect somebody in a positive light, then we love hearing about it. And it's and we feel privileged that people will at least share that with us, because we know that it couldn't have been easy, whatever they were going through. I can't imagine to pretend to know what that was like, or what that is like, or what that will be like. But for them to feel comfortable enough with us to share that really goes a long way, I know, in what we do and why we do what we do.
I've found in virtually every case, the people who are attracted to this show seem to be incredibly giving people. People who not only want to connect because they enjoy the same things, but who want to connect because they're human, because they value human life, because they value each other's lives.
Early on, when I had just joined the show, there was an earthquake in Haiti, and I set up a UNICEF donation page and posted about it on my very, at that point, new Twitter feed. And it was amazing how much money people donated in an incredibly short window. Like, there was $30,000 raised within a day. And that kind of got my wheels spinning, thinking, wow, these people are really committed. They're really eager to participate in something. And so with fans, I started Random Acts, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that has done some awesome projects that I'm really proud of. We built an orphanage/school in Haiti and have done numerous other projects around the world. And I think that it's really thrilling to be a part of a group of people who can work so well and so generously together.
I didn't work for a while because you're pregnant and then you're, dealing with an infant, and I was really experiencing a lot of postpartum depression. And you're just sitting there and you're a new mom, and you have no clue what you're doing. And you're sitting there and you're kind of alone in your place with a crying baby. I was able to feel less alone by reaching out to people on Twitter, reaching out to other moms, reaching out to just fans, just to even say, hey, what's up? But it was something, and I feel like it really saved me, and I feel like that's maybe what the fandom finds in each other. They find kind of an asylum when they need to reach out to somebody, and I found that in the fandom.
One of the most pivotal moments of my experience with this Supernatural fandom was when my daughter's school had a fundraiser, and I know everybody's like, well, why are you asking the fans for money? Why don't you dig into your own pocket? Like, that ain't my situation. That ain't how it rolls in my world. I would have if I had it, and I didn't have it. And yet it was important to me that my daughter have a library for her school, because the one she had a moldy carpet and the books were from the 1970s. Nothing against the 1970s, but we need to update some of this stuff. And she spent a lot of time in the library. And so I asked for help, which is not something that is not a muscle I am used to. And they came with, and what was the most touching is that they gave what they could. It wasn't like, oh, well, you must love me the most. You gave me $200. It was the people who were like, this is all I have. Are you still going to be accepting funds next month? Because this month I'm out. So, right? And people wanted my kid to have a library. And they were sending books to the school. Like, they got the reading list. They went to the school's website and got the books that they wanted in the library.
For a bunch of strangers to give her a place she could go when she needs to. And all of these children, books. You know, I'm a teacher's kid. Books were what got me through childhood. And yeah, I sat on the floor of my kitchen. Look at this is 2 years later, and I sat on the floor of my kitchen and I sobbed because it was receiving unconditional love.
I was at the Toronto convention, and I was on stage doing my thing, and then afterwards, with the autograph line, a woman came up with her daughter at the end of it, and she's like, I hope you don't mind, but can I ask you a strange question? And she said, are you hypermobile? And I just looked at her and I was like, yes. And then she said, I'm a doctor from the States, and I specialize in this certain disorder, and can I ask you a few more questions? And I was like, yeah, for sure. She proceeded to ask me a bunch of questions, to which I was like, yes, 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 yes. And I have struggled with chronic issues my whole life that I've never been able to get to the bottom of. And she asked me we ended up standing there for 45 minutes, and she may possibly have completely changed my life. Okay, so here it comes. So, I mean, when you struggle all your life and you can have that moment where, I mean, I probably never would have met her if it wasn't for Supernatural. And, you know, my friends say, and that's why you've done the show.
They would write me this letter. I would get these letters, and I would read these letters, and it just, you know, I remember getting home from New Jersey and being really emotional. Like, I don't know why. My wife was like, are you okay? And I was like, I don't know, something happened at this convention. Like, I saw it in a different light. I saw something really special going on there. You know, some of these people, this is their home. This is where they can come and be themselves.
One time, I had this person tell me that her cousin, you know, didn't even really watch the show, but she saw like a picture of me in my Ariel, my Little Mermaid costume, and it just made her like the happiest person, because she's always wanted to dress up like a boy, and she didn't think that she was allowed to. And all of a sudden that just, you know, turned the light bulb on, and so she started doing it and made her so happy.
So I was signing autographs, and someone came up and asked me to sign an autograph for their friend who was sick, who had cancer. And when they said that, and I realized how much it meant, how much it would mean for them, it just, I wasn't aware before then that people cared that much. Those were big. Gosh, I didn't know how emotional I would be.
When a woman came up crying, you could see her coming up the line, and she's getting more and more sort of, you know, she's coming up to get a autograph, and by the time she finally got to me, she's fully bawling. And I said, are you okay? Like, like that. And I was like, I don't ever want to have that effect on anybody. I'm thinking she's upset. And she said, you have no idea how how much watching that scene and how much yours and your daughter's, the death scene, the final scene, and your relationship and your character and the strength of your character changed my life, because I hadn't spoken to my family. They were on the other side of the world. I hadn't spoken to them in years, and watching that scene turned everything around. She contacted them and she said, now I talk to my mother, you know, twice a month. And so that's humbling. That's incredibly humbling, because I heard that more and more. And I see it on social media. People say you have no idea how much of an effect that had long term, and that hits you hard.
Seeing how Charlie has touched the lives of some of the fans, a lot of people come up to me at a convention and they say, I'm inspired and I feel strengthened that you play a confident gay character. I feel like, I'm braver to be myself because of who Charlie is. It really shows you that artistry, no matter if it's a television show or a piece of art or a short story or a book or anything, art is meant to affect other people. And when I hear from fans how they've been changed by the show and by my portrayal of Charlie, it makes everything so much more important and makes me value what the fans experience so much more.
Partway through my work on the show, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and I was moving less and less elegantly, and I actually didn't even tell anyone throughout working because I didn't want to detract from the show, and I just didn't know how to talk about it. But everyone just adjusted, and I know that it was very obvious that I was having a lot of difficulty, and no one ever made a big deal about it, and everyone just showed support. And then it was actually at a fan event that I came out, so to speak, that I always promised myself I wouldn't be dishonest if someone asked directly, and someone asked if I was having health problems, and I addressed it. And my only concern was, having played such a strong female character, that that somehow showing my weakness would undermine that for young girls that were watching, and I didn't want to undermine that strength for anyone. I wanted to set an example of it. And the amazing thing about this whole group is it's filled with so many strong people who are fighting so much difficulty, and if anything, they just embraced me more for exactly who I am, whatever was going on, and used that as an example of strength for themselves too, to pull themselves through.
Her body has developed antibodies to and would reject 96% of the donor tissues. Being huge fans of the show, Jewel and I had convention tickets for the DC Con long before it was determined that it was time for her 5th heart surgery. Still optimistic, Jewel said she would get through the surgery and still make it to the convention. But after a fast recovery and much celebrating, we here are at the hospital, but we had to get readmitted because some of the things went wrong, so we're going to unfortunately miss this convention. So the truth is that Jules has always kept fighting and has gained the strength to change because of the show and the incredible cast and fans of the show and this fandom. They have supported her. Thank you, Travis, for hearing our story. #Hearts Mom, because I call her Heart. That's my hashtag for her. So we are raising money. We've raised most of it, and we're going to take her to New Jersey Con. Bring them on.
You could take the recipe we've built, the formula, and apply it to another show, to another convention. You could do the hosting, you can have a band, you can do the Saturday night show with a band, you can do karaoke and costumes and all that. But the glue is the relationship we have with each other.
We've all become so close. I've never said a word of dialogue to them in an episode. I haven't built a relationship sitting in their trailer talking to them. We've just kind of been allowed to be ourselves in front of each other, accept each other just as the fans has accepted us and have accepted themselves.
I'm open about the fact that I had a stroke a couple years ago, and that really pulled me in even closer with the fandom in this world. It happened at a convention. It happened on the last day of a convention, and it all happened around the other actors. They all left. I was the last one signing autographs. So Jensen, Jared, Misha, and Rich were like, hey, we're going to dinner, so text us when you're out. So I started having a stroke right after I finished autographs, and I can't speak. And I never made it to dinner, but Rich knew something was wrong because I always come to dinner. So he came back to the hotel and literally saved my life. Like, he took me to the hospital. It happened to be a stroke hospital. And, you know, you've got like 3-hour window. And I was right at the end. I almost fell asleep in my room. I would have stroked out and then maybe never worked as an actor again. And so a year later, I got all the way better. Remarkably, miraculously, I healed. I could talk again. My artery healed, and I go back. And at the Toronto convention, me and Richard and Jensen, Jared, and Misha had our dinner that we didn't have when I had the stroke. You know, so it was a really cool moment, man. And like I'll never forget that. That, like I said, will become like a big touchstone in my life. That event, and that happened at a convention, and my life was saved because of the convention and because of Richard Spade, who I never knew before this, who's now my best friend.
If you're afraid of doing something because you think of how others might feel, well, you have a community that's there ready to love and support you too.
Some of the good things Fandom has done, like with charities. I mean, raised so much money for charities and help, you know, it's just helped the people immensely.
These guys, like their website, Winchester Rose, does so much for the different charities.
The biggest fundraiser we had was for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. When Jared and Jen's first son Thomas was being born, when they announced that they were going to have a baby, they said instead of people sending them gifts, they'd like, you know, for fans to help other people. So, and they mentioned St. Jude. So we set up a fundraiser page, and fans donated right around $40,000 for St. Jude in honor of Thomas Padalecki's birth, and then Jared and Jen matched that. So the donation was over $80,000 for St. Jude. Wow. That was our biggest one. Then we've also, this was our third year, we're helping with Team Levi, and Jensen Ackles' nephew. His family participates in the Down Syndrome Guild of Dallas Buddy Walk every year. And the first year we raised right around $8,000 to $10,000 for them. Last year it was $13,000.
It's like the Occupy movement, but it's with a television show. They get together and they can do anything. This is what I feel. The fans can achieve anything.
I have a couple of charities that I support, and one of them is a very small charity. It's just a little store in northeastern Oklahoma that gives away free goods to the Cherokee tribes members who don't have anything. I put something on Twitter one day, and within half an hour, they had more donations than they'd had in something like 3 years. That's the supernatural community.
One reason I love Jared and Jensen is because they're Texas boys. They're such gentlemen. Misha too, Mark Shepard, all of them are just so incredibly kind and concerned.
There's a saying in showbiz that, you know, hey, we're not curing cancer here. And it's just a reminder not to take ourselves too seriously at what we do. We are making movies and we're telling stories, and it's a lot of fun and we all enjoy doing it. Yeah, you know, we're not curing cancer, but we might be helping somebody that has it have a better day.
A dear friend of mine told me I was born with an extra emotion bone, and I remind myself that. And I was like, I like it. And she said it with all love. She was like, you know what? You're born with an extra emotion bone, and that's okay. I've been pretty public about my kind of lifelong struggles with anxiety and depression. And the first couple of Always Keep Fighting campaigns, I didn't think it would become what it was. I wanted to be something that made some difference. I didn't realize what a difference it actually would make.
About 25% of the entire population suffers from some mental health disorder, but less than 40% actually get treatment, and that's due to stigma. People are afraid to get help. Well, we're big Supernatural fans, my daughter and I, and we went last minute to San Francisco. We were actually able to get a meet and greet with Jared because they weren't all sold out. And he started talking about, how he wanted to help people. So I raised my hand. I said, that's what we do. We go into schools and we talk to young people about good mental health and suicide prevention. We've talked to over 22,000 students so far in New Jersey, New York, and Vermont. And he just said, I want to help you.
I met another, the heads of a charity called Attitudes in Reverse, and they're like a smaller To Write Love on Her Arms that I have no doubt will become To Write Love on Her Arms in their own right.
I just want to say what an honor it was to have the Always Keep Fighting movement and the Attitudes in Reverse charity and movement combined and together and working as one. And it's such an honor to be able to work with y'all.
Whether it's war veterans, whether it's children with terminal diseases, you're here, you're alive, and you're pushing forward. And if we can help you do that, then that's awesome.
The fandom has really embraced my support of an organization called Homeboy Industries, which is the largest gang intervention program in the world. It takes formerly incarcerated men and women, because it's really hard to find a job once you've got a jail record, right? And it basically gives them a second chance. So they offer a myriad of free services, from removing your tattoos, because obviously if you've got the word, F you, tattooed across your forehead, you're probably not getting a job. So they have anger management and parenting classes. You can get your GED and all rehab. All the things that you need to really get back on your feet. And the reason I love to hook it to Supernatural is because the motto for Supernatural is saving lives. And that's exactly what Homeboy does. And I've gotten so much support from the fandom.
There's been a group of proactive fans that started a Free Lucifer campaign. They make these t-shirts, these cool t-shirts, and then they sell them, and then the proceeds from the t-shirts go to my favorite charities, so they've gone to St. Jude's Hospital, and they've gone to cancer work, and they've gone to veterans, helping veterans, and yeah, when you get involved in a community like this, you can't help but, get involved in the active charities that are part of the community.
We're really excited about this this campaign and this project. Misha mentioned it to me a while back, and I said, "Well, look, man, you give me the go, and I'll hop on with you, and we'll see what we can do." So it's all about you guys. It's for you, funded by you, and yeah, we couldn't be happier.
This campaign has been amazing. It's been an incredible outpouring of support so far. We've had psychologists and therapists and
family and coworkers and
I feel bad.
Oh, remember,
You're not alone. You're not alone.
never alone.
You're trying to be alone, but you're not.
I wish sometimes you would just leave.
You're not alone.
I'm gonna call them all.
I'm coming.
What my fellow actors do as far as charitable work is concerned, they're extraordinarily active. Jared Jensen, Misha, they really do put out, and they become a motivating force for a large section of the Supernatural family to do an extraordinary amount of amazing actions, of amazing acts.
They're using their fame to shine light on important issues, to make sure that the Supernatural family is taken care of, to truly make the world a better place. And most people don't use fame that way. And so the fact that they do is extraordinary and to be commended. And I'm honestly, it's like, I'm really proud of them, and I'm very proud. One of the things I'm most proud of the show is that it's grown into that.
I had another very, very intense struggle with anxiety and depression again this summer. It's such a funny thing because you're like, here I am, and I love my wife with all my heart. I love my kids with every ounce of my being. I love my job. I love what I get to do. I'm not struggling financially, and people are nice to me, and I get to cut in line sometimes. And so you kind of, that almost makes it worse sometimes because you're like, why am I sad? Like, what am I feeling nervous about? I'm fine, it's fine. But I had a big between a rock and a hard place, and I had to cancel some appearances. And so my first real public appearance since my big fight with anxiety and depression back in May has been Comic-Con. So I get on stage and we do the big Hall H with 7,500 people in the audience and people in the hallways watching the monitors, and I see a bunch of lights turn on. At first I'm like, are people holding up like an iPhone app or what's going on? Because there are a bunch of lights on you, and it's a little intimidating even here 11 years into Comic-Con to be in front of thousands of people. Like, this is as close to the rock star feeling I'll ever feel, like a crowd of 6,000 or 7,000, however many fit in the room. And I remember going like, this is so crazy. Like, looking around seeing all these lights, and they were waving them. They were certainly making, it wasn't just like holding a phone, they were doing something. And so I wanted to take a picture of it just because it was such an interesting vision, for lack of a better word. But I was handed a piece of paper and a tea light, and that's when I was like, oh, that's what it is. And I kind of saw like AKF Hall H and Always Keep Fighting, and I was like, this is amazing. But I still didn't know. I was like, is this something that Warner Brothers has planned and it's gonna be a gag or whatever? And then somebody again whispered like, hey, you should read the paper. And so when I read it, it said a fan ordered over 6,000 of these to hand out in honor of the Always Keep Fighting campaign. For the first time for me to be in front of so many people, to be, this is what happened, it really, I mean, it still touches me. It will touch me till the day I die. But it just occurs to me how and I'm not trying to be humble by any means, I'm just one of those tea lights in a sea of God knows how many, billions maybe, worldwide. If it's 1 in 3, maybe 2 billion, whatever the population. So I'm honored that I can be a part of it and a voice and a platform for people to say, hey, thank you, I've done it, I've gone through it too, I was always embarrassed, but I mean, you have a TV show, and so if you go through it, then it makes me feel better about me going through it.
Sometimes all we need is to know we're not alone. And when I need that the most as a person is when I am the least capable of asking for it. Like, the more alone and frightened I feel, the quieter my voice gets. So just asking for help is almost impossible. So when you have someone in a position like Jared or Misha who are openly saying, you're not alone, my voice will find you, and I will tell you you are okay.
Jensen has set an example of what a friend really should be, because sometimes when people struggle with mental health disorders, they lose their friends one by one. My son struggled and he lost his friends. They just forgot about him. It became difficult to be friends with him. And he did end his life because he felt lonely, he felt hopeless. And the fact that Jensen stood by his side and said, I've got your back, brother, I thought was awesome.
But to go like, hey, I got your back too. And you see all this, we do too. And I want the people who are watching this to know that that's how I feel back at you, if you're watching this and you've dealt with some similar things. That to me is what fandom is. It's not so much putting on a pedestal, but I think that's the only way the world works, is going like, hey, I know you got a lot, and I know you got a TV show and a wife and kids and dogs and a house and a career, but I see that you need some support. I got your back. I don't know what I can do, but I got your back. And so, to me, fandom is I got your back, and I got your back.
Supernatural is different, and I think it really sort of, has its own sort of place in Hollywood in terms of what it's about and what it does.
This show has created such a passionate fandom, and that fandom has done such good work, and it has become such a coherent community that it's become part of the brand of the actual show.
Jensen and me and our bosses and their bosses and their bosses didn't know how many people Supernatural was affecting. There were several times in Supernatural's origins where we were on the brink of being canceled and being no longer. It was a change of network, and there were changes of showrunners, and there were changes of network runners. By the time we realized the show was in its own right a success, I don't want to say we didn't care, but we didn't care.
You know, it really is, it's like a perfect storm of things, you know? It's a genre show, which is really well done and well written, well acted.
First of all, it comes down to the page. You know, Eric Kripke, you know, created a great show, great characters, and I think the relationship between the two brothers was the heart of the show.
I think the first step we took towards being sort of what it became, and the first and biggest step was Jared and Jensen.
Really, the core brotherhood that is the head of the show really is the thing that fans seem to respond to so much. It's such a genuine relationship between Jared and Jensen.
And even some of the villains, like Lucifer, is somebody who's very much in the throes of a family problem, you know, and his interaction with the angels and his sense of what loyalty is, I think, are very powerful, even though they're negative, and it's appealing to people, and that's what gives it its longevity.
Very much so. I'll credit Kim Manners, may he rest in peace, for really kind of going like, hey guys, we're telling these stories about ghosts and goblins and demons and angels, and it's all very silly and fantastical, but that doesn't matter. It's about caring and perseverance and having somebody or something to fight for.
And what I love about the writing and the subject matter is they take very serious subjects and it has its tongue in its cheek and it doesn't take itself seriously. So the fans are in on the jokes.
I didn't totally understand the supernatural magic until I watched the fan fiction episode with the musical and all that. And I was just laughing because I'd done enough episodes now and watched enough of them to get the inside jokes.
Even the action and horror and suspense stuff is about characters looking out for one another, and not just each other, but the world. I mean, you've got this collection of hunters who have decided on their own to look out for the whole world.
So many of these shows are about the hero's journey and about the underdog winning and going through this, you know, massive journey where they're sort of, they cannot not go on the journey and they win in the end.
Their legend of their relationship with their family, with their friends, that blood relationship is incredibly potent.
There's something about Jared and Jensen and the family that they have and the brother.
Dynamic that those two guys had, that Jared and Jensen had, and the dynamic that we had, the three of us in that first year, became apparently clear, and a really kind of fun thing to play with for us as actors, and also just as guys hanging out. We spent a lot of time together laughing and having dinners and drinking up there in Vancouver. And you know, the show was just finding its legs. You know, who knew that 10 years later we'd be sitting here off in the middle of Hollywood doing a documentary about the fandom of the show.
And Jared and Jensen, they're just off the scale. They're such sweethearts. They're quite handsome.
Are they?
I mean, there's some people's taste.
When I act with Jared or Jensen or Misha, you know, I'm just acting with Jared and Jensen and Misha. It's my job, you know. When I then watch the show, I just go, God almighty, of course.
Supernatural is my first American TV show. And what I'm understanding from all my other friends who are on shows and doing other jobs is that other shows are just not like this. And I'm fully aware that I have been spoiled rotten.
There are actors who get into the same role over years and years and years who would rather blow their brains out than do it one more time. And I thought, boy, I don't know anything about them. I don't know what they're like, but boy, they could really be dicks.
In my history of working in this business, I've never met two stars, and Jared and Jensen are stars of this show, that within a minute you feel like you know, they make you feel like you're the guest star, like a genuine, you're the guest of their show, and you are the star of this week.
I want to restate it. They're two of the finest gentlemen I've ever come across in this business. I absolutely adore them and have nothing but respect, and it's because of their attitude, I think, that fosters that goodwill amongst everyone else who's hired on the show.
It trickles down, and everyone down to the newest PA is warm and funny and gets it.
And I couldn't believe the difference. I could not believe how open and generous and easy they were.
I want a cup of coffee, like go get the cup of, like that never happens. If you want something, you go get it. And it's really cool because it makes it easy to talk to people. You know, people aren't weird on set and everyone just does a good job. And they all want to be there. And that's really special, and I think they all really appreciate what they have. I know I appreciate it when I'm on set. I did a couple movies this summer, and they were really fun, but it made me miss Supernatural.
You know, they're not only the spine of this, but they're the reason that these fans are who they are and that they love it so much. They are the heartbeat of all of it, and because of them, that's why these things happen. I mean, it's really them.
And we got really good people. Like I said, there's no a-hole.
There's just this unspoken agreement where there's not going to be any BSing, any ego. There's always a playfulness.
With any set, there's going to be, you know, with any family, there's going to be little conflicts and arguments and things, but they just don't ever go that far on Supernatural. And it's because Jared and Jensen have just had an incredible positive attitude from the moment they walked on the set.
Their idea of what a family is they've taken it and brought it to a set, and then they've brought it even further into doing these conventions and how many they do, giving more than I've ever seen any two actors give on a television show in my life.
I think both Jared and I, from an early age, we had some good teachers in our fathers, and they taught us to, you know, to show up and to work hard and to not take things for granted. And so I think that hopefully we've lived up to that standard to some degree.
They have set up this entire structure for all of us other actors to join, and it's a whole philosophy about giving back to the community. They understand that they wouldn't be where they are right now without the fandom.
It's not many shows that, one, go this long, and even more special because of the fans of this show and the passion that these fans have. Very rarefied air.
And what it's grown into, I'm proud of it. I'm a little, I find it insane. Like, you know, I have a lot of emotions about it.
There's a reason why the show's on, 11 seasons. It rings true. The amount of effort that people put into what they do is extraordinary. You know, if you didn't care about the Winchesters, you wouldn't care about the show.
Not knowing what to expect, I think, made me super vulnerable. And so as the experiences revealed themselves to me and people were so grateful for the show and grateful for my part in it, I was like, this is amazing. Like, I am being touched by them and their appreciation for this story that we all love, that I feel like I'm a fan. And I say it all the time, like, I love Sam Winchester. I feel like I know him pretty well.
You know, the fact that he and I have really done it together for this many years and have been there to, you know, not just support, not just counterbalance, but really to keep each other accountable. You know, if he starts getting beat down, then I can say a few encouraging words to him and get him back and be like, hey, come on, man, we're not going to go down that road. Let's go down. Let's keep trucking. And he does the same for me, and I think that that's just a unique situation to us. You know, sure, there's other shows out there that have cast members that get along great, and that's great, because I can't imagine working on a series, especially this long, and not getting along with the person that you work so much with.
When art's created from a kind, respectful, compassionate, positive place, I think it vibrates out and attracts more of it.
I'm always happy to go back. It's like a relief, and it's like working, you know, with your brothers and sisters and uncles and aunts.
If I was gonna be on a show that had a fandom that met and gathered and enjoyed each other's company and wanted to see us, I could never in a million years have picked one as good as this one.
But inside, it made me feel valued again. And it is one of my favorite roles I've ever done.
One of the fans said to me in the photo op, you know, once you're in, you can't get out. And I'm like, good, I don't want out.
The little show that could in the beginning has turned into this big thing, and I get to be a part of it. That doesn't happen. Ever.
We enjoy it still. And I think that's a big part of it too, you know. I mean, there's days, like I said, when I don't want to be throwing myself around or taking punches or getting emotional. You know, I'd rather just take it easy and watch football. But this is a job that, you know, 99% of the time I love, and I feel like at this point in time that it's kind of lightning in a bottle, and I think that's something we don't want to ever take for granted.
You know, in a business where you don't have a lot of control, to have the access to the support of people who genuinely love you and they feel like they're connected to you, and they are. There's a lot of intimacy, and there's a lot of safety in that, and I'm very grateful for that.
This group in particular, the Supernatural family, is so massive and so intense in a wonderful way that it's incredibly just gratifying to get to meet them and really thank them for letting us do what we do.
We're there, and we want to be there, and we don't want to let people down. That's not extraordinary. To me, that's what you should do. You're hired to do a job. You show up and you work to the best of your ability and the best of your capabilities, and the bonus is getting to go on these things on the weekends and meeting the people that really that make me want to show up to go to work.
I mean, it's amazing, and I'm very grateful. I realize how rare and extraordinary something like this is, and it's because of them, and it's because of their passion, and that's really where it all begins and ends.
If fans had not been there for us, we would not exist. Period. Game, set, match. And so I think when Jensen and I, and Misha and Mark and everybody and the cast who's ever been a part of the cast say thank you, we mean it. We mean it on a level that you can only mean something with a decade or more's worth of day in, day out experiences.
We certainly enjoy putting on these shows and putting on this show specifically for you guys, and as long as you keep showing up, we'll keep showing up.
The landscape of television and stuff now is such that networks pull stuff after 6 episodes if it's not getting tons of viewers, and man, I'll hate to see what happens when this thing goes off the air. I think there's just going to be it's going to be bedlam. It's going to be a prison riot. It's going to be crazy, and I don't know, man. I think CW would be smart. They just let this thing play out forever. As long as Jared and Jensen can walk, they should do this show. And I'll come and visit.